Hello everyone, this is part 11 of What If Naruto Was the Hollow God, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Team 10 of Konoha, plus the remaining two members of Team 7, Sasuke and Kakashi, stood in front of one of the entrances to Konoha, along with a squad of 6 root ninja. They have gathered there in order to go to their mission assigned by Danzo. They are to track down Hiden and Kakazu, subdue them, and then take them back to the leaf by any means necessary. Listen to me carefully, Danzo said. He was there as well, flanked by 2 of his most trusted agents. He came personally to see this group off, as this mission is very important to him. Even more important than the mission to capture Mario and Gaara. To him, the results of this mission might give him the means to acquire the perfect immortality, and there is nothing more important to him in this world than that. If you fail this mission but somehow are able to escape with your lives, don't even bother to come back, because I will personally execute all of you. Is that clear? None of the ninja from any of the teams were surprised by the threat, especially the ROOT, who knew how Danzo is and that he has no problem disposing of them if they are unnecessary. Sasuke and Kakashi also knew that they have failed one too many mission already, and that the only reason they weren't killed after the mission to capture Gaara failed, is because of what they pulled in order for Sasuke to awaken his Mangekyo Sharingan. As for the 3 members of Team 10, while they knew Danzo the least, they knew enough to know that Danzo sees no one as completely necessary, and that he will kill them unless they have some use. Yes sir. They all shouted at the same time. Danzo nodded, and then turned around and walked back to the village, leaving the others behind. Alright, let's get this over with, Kakashi said. I want to know as soon as possible, what my future will be, that is, if I have a future for that matter. The others nodded, and soon, they were all gone from where they were standing. XXX. Sako walked out from the Garganta, and into the thick forest, somewhere. She let Yugito's body lie on the ground, before she lifted Yugito's shinobi blouse all the way up to her neck, exposing her entire torso and chest to her eyes. Sako then looked at the seal she placed on Yugito's chest after she defeated her 3 days ago. It was a very complicated seal, which was made to look like a simple tattoo of swirl, and nothing more. If one was to look at it, and figure out that it was a seal of some kind and not just a normal tattoo, they wouldn't even be able to figure out where to start in order to decipher it. It was that complicated seal, and it was currently one of the best seals Naruto can make at his current level of mastery. The seal was currently glowing with an angry red color, and the glow was slowly spreading all over Yugito's body. Soon enough, the red chakra has completely enveloped Yugito's body, to the point that she isn't even seen under it. Yugito looks like she has become chakra itself, and has taken on a human form. Sako stood slightly away from Yugito, and watched as the seal did its job. Even though she can't see Yugito because of the chakra, she felt that Yugito has come back to life just a few moments ago, and that the moment the red chakra recedes inside of her core, Yugito will wake up, as good as new. For a few minutes, Yugito was covered in the remnants of the 2 tails chakra which were inside of the seal placed by Sako, before the glowing finally disappeared, revealing Yugito's unconscious form, lying on the ground. Sako looked at Yugito with raised eyebrows, because she was surprised by some small changes which occurred on Yugito. Naruto never told her that there will be any changes, so she was surprised. Yugito originally had very long, blonde hair, but now it is blue, with black streaks and considerably shorter, since it seems to be only going down to below her shoulders, instead to the lower back. Then there is a blue shade around her gold, cat-like eyes, very much like the ones Naruto has, though in Yugito's case, she only has them around the eyes, and nowhere else. Yugito's cloths have been completely burned and turned to nothing, leaving her completely naked to Sako's eyes, allowing her to see that the former Kumo Kunoichi has a perfect body as far as Sako was concerned. The final difference is that, the seal which Sako placed on Yugito, was no longer there, but instead, there is a face of a 2-tailed beast. The seal which held the 2 tails inside of Yugito was broken by the jutsu used by the Akatsuki, so that seal wasn't on Yugito either. Yugito's eyes fluttered open, and she tried to look around through the fog clouding her sight. She didn't know where she was, and barely remembers what happened. Flashes of a very beautiful young woman with long purple hair came to her mind, and then she remembered that the woman was with the Akatsuki, and that she was sent to capture her. Yugito slowly remembered the battle, and how soundly and easily she was defeated to a point that even the full power of her Biju was useless against the Akatsuki's member. Yugito never thought that she would be defeated that easily, considering that even the Reikage and the eight-tailed Jinchuriki, two of the strongest shinobi she ever met, would have a problem to defeat her. I can't believe that I was defeated that easily, Yugito though in her head, as her eyesight was clearing out, and she was starting to see more clearly. But what happened after that? Where am I, and why am I not dead? I see you are alive, a female voice said, bringing Yugito's eyes right toward where it came from. She was stunned when she saw and recognized the same woman who defeated her so easily. It's good to see that the seal actually works. Yugito managed to pull herself in a seating position, but was unable to stand back up, as she was still too weak. She finally noticed that she is naked as well, and tried to cover her modesty, not that there is any use for it now, since Sako has gotten an eyeful. Where am I? Yugito asked. What did you do to me? We are in the forest somewhere in the land of fire, Sako said. As for what I did to you, well, after I defeated you, I took you to a place where the Akatsuki extracted your Biju from you. I'm sure by now, you noticed that the beast is gone. If Yugito wasn't already seating on her ass, she would have fallen right on it, from the shock brought by the information. She then tried to feel for her cat companion, but much to her shock, she realized she can't feel it nor hear it, which should be impossible as she was able to communicate with her Biju since before she was even able to gain control of its power. I see that you are confused, Sako spoke again, seeing that Yugito is in shock. So I will explain what happened from the moment I defeated you, all the way up to now. Yugito only nodded, as she didn't know what to say. Sako then went and explained how after she defeated Yugito, she placed a seal on her, which siphoned some of her Biju's chakra into it, and stored it separately from the seal which was holding the Biju. She then took Yugito to the other Akatsuki, and they extracted the Biju, which killed Yugito in the process, but thanks to the seal Sako placed earlier, she was brought back to life when her system was flooded by the Biju chakra which was stored inside of the seal. Once Sako was finished with the explanation, she went quiet, and waited to hear what Yugito would do. Yugito was also quiet, but while Sako was calm, Yugito can barely keep herself from looking calm, when in fact, she was in turmoil. She had so many thoughts going through her head and has so many questions, that she doesn't know what to do, say or ask. After a few minutes of silence, Yugito managed to calm herself slightly, took a deep breath, and asked, "Why did you do this for me?" Sako sighed. She was expecting this question, but before she could answer it, Yugito needs to be explained something. First of all, Sako spoke. Before I explain the reason I did this, you need to know that if I tell you this, you will not be able to go back to Kumo. Yugito's eyes widened. Actually, I don't think you will be able to go there even if I don't tell you the reason I saved your life. But why? Yugito asked. How do you think I was able to find you that easily? Sako questioned. Why do you think you were sent on that mission all alone in that remote place, and with no one in sight to help you? It was all a setup, Yugito, Sako said, while watching Yugito's eyes grow wider and wider with every question as she was starting to understand what happened. The Akatsuki and your village made a deal. Your village sold you out to us, on the promise that we won't go after the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. You, Yugito, were betrayed by your own village, which is one of the reasons you can't go back there. Who knows what they'll do to you when they see you alive after you had your Biju extracted. And no, Yugito tried to deny it. I am a loyal Kumo Kunoichi. I had complete control over my Biju's power. I was one of the strongest shinobi in the village. They wouldn't have just thrown me to the wolves like that. Loyalty doesn't mean anything in the shinobi world, Sako said. It's just a load of crap. As for you being one of the strongest shinobi in Kumo, well, while that might be the truth, you are still weaker than the Eight Tails Jinchuriki, and on top of that, he is the Reikage's brother. The Akatsuki used that, and made him an offer. They hand over you, and the Akatsuki will back off from the other Jinchuriki. It didn't take long for Kumo to reach the decision and send you to a fake mission on which you will be captured, your Biju extracted, and you would be dead. If I didn't do what I did, you would have died, thinking that your village was still on your side. You would have died thinking that there are people there who cared about you and would have felt sorry for what happened to you. But the truth is, while it is possible that there are few people who care about you in Kumo, those who are most important in that village, and they are the leaders and higher-ups, well, they don't care about you, and only used you for their own gain. Yugito was still in denial, even after everything she heard. Yes, she knew that she wasn't liked in the village, and many hated her, but she didn't think that they will just decide to dispose of her just like that, since Kumo, most of all, respect power, which is something she had. She also knew that the eight-tailed Jinchuriki, Killer Bee, is the Raikage's younger brother, and unlike her, he was liked in the village, but even with that, it's hard for her to comprehend that she would be betrayed just so that the Akatsuki wouldn't even go after B. Why? Yugito asked, while tears were rolling down her face. Why would they do this to me? Sako sighed. This is a cruel world we are living in, Yugito, she said. The hidden villages, and the countries, they do what they believe is the best for them. But many different factions believe in different things, and when they all do what they believe is a right thing, then the innocent are the ones who are sacrificed and suffer the most. You are not the first who was sacrificed for the sake of the village, and I doubt you will be the last. It has been like that for decades, and as long as the current system stands, then this deaths of innocents will continue. Yugito looked at Sako, and studied her for a moment. Why did you save me? Yugito asked again. Is it because you want me to join the Akatsuki? Or is it because of something else? It's something else, Sako said, getting raised eyebrows from Yugito. The Akatsuki is only interested in the Biju. Once they have it, they dispose of the Jinchuriki corpse. That's how it's been with the ones before you, and that was how it would have been for you, if I wasn't the one who was sent to capture you in the first place, and placed a seal on you which saved your life after the two tails was extracted. But what do you want from me? Yugito asked. Sako was quiet for a few moments. She thought if she should tell Yugito everything, or if she should wait until Yugito joins her side, and then tell her everything. Sako soon realized that Yugito is temperamental, and probably wouldn't agree to join her unless she was given a reason, and while Sako did save her life, Yugito will not agree to join unless she was given a reason for her life being saved by Sako. Sako sighed, and spoke. What you need to understand is that I don't actually work for the Akatsuki, Sako said, and Yugito's eyes widened in shock. I work with someone else, and that someone is the one who made the seal I used to save your life. He is the one who tasked me to infiltrate the Akatsuki, so that I would be able to learn what the goal is, and if possible, save the lives of the captured Jinchuriki, who would lose their lives once their Biju were extracted. I only joined not long ago, and you were the first Jinchuriki I was sent to capture. It was my initiation, but I was okay with that, as it gave me the chance to save you. It will be hard for the others though, as I won't be the one who will be sent after all of them. Now, the person who I work with, is called Alessandro Stark, and he wishes for you to join him and his cause, now that you are officially dead, and no longer have ties to your previous village. I think I've heard of Stark somewhere, Yugito said, while thinking of where she has heard of that name. Probably in the bingo book, Sako said. He was placed in there by Oto and Iwa about 3 years ago. Right, Yugito said. That must be it. But still, why would he want me to join him? He doesn't know me, nor do I know him. True, Sako nodded. But you and he have something in common, which you will have to wait for him to tell you about, as I'm not in liberty to tell you. He also believes that you deserve a chance to have a good life, since you spent majority of your life alone and not cared for by anyone, just as most of the other Jinchuriki, who never had a chance to have a normal life, and were always seen as weapons for their villages to use, and nothing else. Is he a Jinchuriki as well? Yugito asked. Why would you think that? Sako questioned with a raised eyebrow. Well, you said that we have something in common, and that he wants me to have a better life than I used to, Yugito explained. You also said that he knows how the Jinchuriki were treated everywhere, and there are not many people who have any form of respect for the Jinchuriki. I guess the Jinchuriki would be the only one who could really understand another Jinchuriki, so it made me wonder if he might be a Jinchuriki, and if he is, which one? Sako smiled. Nice try, she said. But no, Alessandro is not a Jinchuriki. He did have a connection to one, though, and it's because of that he is willing to help the other Jinchuriki. He already saved one, with you being the second. The current Kazekage was also captured by the Akatsuki and had his Biju extracted, but he was saved by the person from his own village. That means that 3 of the 5 captured Jinchuriki are still alive, while the other 2 are dead. It leaves 2 more Jinchuriki to be captured and their beasts extracted, as well as 2 Biju who are not sealed as their previous Jinchuriki have died, and the beasts have not returned back to their bodies. I see, Yugito frowned. She was really sure that Alessandro might be a Jinchuriki, but he is not. She wondered which Jinchuriki he had a connection to, and what happened to that person. Are they one of the 2 dead Jinchuriki who were captured by the Akatsuki and weren't saved? Or maybe he had something with the one of the Jinchuriki of the Biju who are not yet back to their bodies after the Jinchuriki died. Where is he now? How do I meet with him? So you agree to join him? Sako questioned. Yugito shook her head. I agree to speak to him, she said. If I join him or not, I will decide after that conversation. Fair enough, Sako said. I guess I will take you to him, and leave you there to talk. I will have to return to the Akatsuki as I have a feeling that they are about to be 2 more members short. Why's that? Yugito asked. Oh, well 2 of them had a run-in with Alessandro few days ago, and it didn't end well for them, Sako said with a smirk, making Yugito's eyes widen. Now they decided to go after him, and have their revenge. I know how powerful Alessandro is, and because of that, I can tell you that those 2 stand no chance against him. Yugito shuddered. She couldn't take out even 1 member of the Akatsuki, with the use of her Biju's power, and this Alessandro can take out 2 of them with no problem. It made her feel scared, and very weary of him. Fine, let's go, Yugito said, and Sako nodded. But first, give me some cloths. Yugito blushed as she looked downward at herself, and saw her completely naked body. Why am I even naked? Oh, that. Sako looked at Yugito and silently appreciated the other female's body. They completely burned up during the revival. The infusion of the 2 tails chakra into your system and then merger with your own chakra, also slightly changed your appearance, but you will have to inspect yourself later. Sako took of her Akatsuki cloak, and handed it to Yugito, as she didn't have anything else. It left her in her own usual cloths of red pants and bandages around her chest. It also showed the sword, which was previously been unseen because of the Akatsuki cloak. Now we have to go. Fine, Yugito said, and then watched with dropped jaw as Sako opened a garganta in front of herself. What the hell have I gotten myself into? She though as she looked at Sako's smirking face. Naruto was back in Whirlpool, and has just finished a meeting with Sakura. He came back as he wanted an information about Gurren and Tsunade. Basically, he wanted to know of their condition, and to know if he should just go and turn Tsunade into a hybrid if Sakura can't do anything to help with her condition. First, he learned that Gurren has made a complete recovery and will be fine. Sakura and some other girls informed Gurren of what happened, and where she was, before they offered her a place in the Whirlpool, of course with Cielaporo's permission. Gurren was very reluctant at first, mostly because she was very loyal to Orochimaru, but also because she didn't know the people in Whirlpool, and didn't know how they will treat her. With Orochimaru, there was always a possibility to end up strapped on a table as his and Kabuto's experiment, but at least she knew what to expect. In Whirlpool, she didn't know what to expect, and that was unnerving her. It took some time, but Gurren agreed to try it out, and stay in Whirlpool to simply live there. Would she decide to become a ninja, or stay as a civilian, she will decide at the later time. Naruto was not exactly happy that Gurren is questioning if she wants to be a kunoichi or not, because she has a very nice Kekkei Genkai, and would be of great use to him, and his country, but he is not the kind of guy who makes others do what they don't want to do, so he decided to let her be for now, and just wait and see what she would decide. After he found out about Gurren's condition, Naruto learned that Tsunade is not getting better, and that Sakura simply doesn't have skill to reverse the damage done to Tsunade's brain and psyche. So, Naruto decided to take things into his own hands. XXX. Naruto stood in the room where Tsunade was being kept. He was standing next to Tsunade's bed, looking at her as she was simply sitting there, not doing or saying anything. She wasn't even looking at Naruto, and it looked like that she didn't even comprehend that he was there to begin with. He sighed. Damn it, Tsunade, Naruto said. You are the world's best medic and you allowed yourself to fall this far. Well, now I will have to do what needs to be done, and if you end up angry for what I'm about to do, then so be it. But this is still partially your fault. Naruto pushed Tsunade's head back, exposing her face to him. He looked at her face, which looked like she was 70 years old, and not in her mid-50s. While her face was old, her eyes were empty and she didn't look like she was there at all. Naruto sighed again, and grabbed Tsunade with his left hand, holding her just below the jaw. To an outsider, it might look like he was trying to strangle her, but that was not the case. Naruto bit his right thumb, drawing blood, which he then let drop in Tsunade's mouth and down her throat. He then let go of her, and let her fall on the bed, where she lied as she was covered in golden light. Naruto watched as the light covered Tsunade, convulsed and surprisingly, screamed in pain. He was surprised, because he wasn't expecting her to scream at all, but he was satisfied as well, because it would seem that the transformation is working. Tsunade is changing right in front of Naruto's eyes, as she was apparently deraging. How far will she go, remains to be seen, though. Naruto was also happy, because he could feel that Tsunade's power is increasing exponentially, and he is certain that once the transformation was done, she will be up there on the same level of power as Tayuya and Taya, currently two of his strongest friends. The transformation went for several minutes. Longer than any before that, except Tayuya's, though Tayuya was a special case, since she was badly injured, while Tsunade wasn't. Tsunade on the other hand, was physically fine, but mentally, she wasn't there, so Naruto can't say he was surprised it took a while for the hollow powers to fix her mind. Once the glowing ended, and Tsunade's transformation to a human, hollow hybrid was finished, Naruto couldn't help but stand in silence and admire Tsunade's form. The Tsunade he knew was usually keeping herself looking like she was in her mid-20s, with giant breasts, and straight blonde hair which is parted above her forehead. She had shoulder-length bangs, and the rest of her hair is tied at the back in two tails, reaching her lower back. She also had that seal of her on her forehead. The new Tsunade though, she looks pretty much the same, only younger. She looks like she is around 20 years old. Her breasts seem to be smaller than they used to be. If Naruto has to guess, then he would say that her breasts are around 15 or 16 centimeters smaller than before the transformation. The only other change is on her forehead where the seal used to be. Now, the seal is completely gone, and Naruto is wondering what that could mean. Tsunade opened her eyes and looked around in wonder. Naruto saw the look in her eyes, and realized that she is back, as he can see intelligence and consciousness behind the look. The moment their eyes landed on each other, Naruto would swear that he saw Tsunade blush, not that she will admit that for the rest of eternity. I see you are back, Naruto spoke. Good. Because you've been out of it for a while. Who are you? Tsunade asked, her voice low and raspy from not being used for almost 3 years. Where am I? Naruto hummed, before he approached closer to Tsunade, until he was standing right at the side of her bed, while she moved backwards a little, hitting the wall with her back. She looked at him as if she was afraid of him. That was definitely not like Tsunade he knew. She would be probably spiting fire by now, and throwing punches all over the place. Then again, Tsunade has had a mind break 3 years ago, and has been in that state for a while, so it shouldn't be surprising that there would be some changes to her personality. Naruto gave her a glass of water, and Tsunade took it, before she took a few small sips. You are in the land of whirlpools, Naruto said, making Tsunade's eyes widen. This room is one of many which were hidden below the former Azukage Tower, and is close to the vault. You've been here for some weeks now. Before that, you were in the hospital here in the Whirlpool, and before that, you were in the asylum in the Land of Fire. I broke you out of there few months ago, and brought you here so that I can see if we can heal you. Heal me from what? Tsunade asked. She wanted to ask more about the Whirlpool, but that can wait. She wants to know what happened to her, because she can't remember anything. The last thing she does remember, is that she sent a team to return Sasuke Uchiha after he defected the village, but after that, there were few blurry moments, and then, nothing. Someone placed you under a genjutsu, Naruto said, getting raised eyebrows from Tsunade. While normally someone like you shouldn't fall for a genjutsu, this one seems to have been very powerful and you weren't able to break out. From what I've found out, you've been trying to break out for months, but were unable to, and in the end, your mind snapped, and you were sent to the asylum. You were there for almost 2.5 years until I found you and broke you out few months ago. Okay, that could explain why she couldn't remember anything. A powerful genjutsu would be able to mess with her mind and made her forget stuff, but the question stands. Who the hell could have placed her under a genjutsu that powerful? She doubted that anyone who doesn't have at least Mangekyo Sharingan, or maybe some other dojutsu, which they can cast genjutsu with, would be able to put her under a genjutsu. Tsunade rubbed her head, trying hard to remember who could have placed her under a genjutsu, but it was all blurry. She does remember meeting someone not long after the team went after Sasuke, few someones actually, but she can't see who they were, nor which one of them used a genjutsu on her. Naruto was surprised. He thought that the moment she is better, that Tsunade would be able to remember who used a genjutsu on her, but he was wrong, and she can't remember. Even her being revived as a human, hollow hybrid, didn't seem to fix her memory of that moment. At least not yet. Maybe it will in a few hours or days, but he is not sure. What he is sure though, is that the genjutsu used on Tsunade must have been really strong if even his blood couldn't remove all traces of it. What happened after I was placed under a genjutsu? Tsunade suddenly asked. What have I done while under it? Naruto sighed, and Tsunade's throat fell into her stomach. She knew right then and there that she will not like the answer. The Konoha elders and the council decided to execute someone in front of the entire village, Naruto said. Tsunade's eyes widened, and her jaw went loose in shock. She had a very bad feeling about this, and someone suddenly came to mind. You didn't do anything to stop it. You just stood there, with an empty gaze, while that person was executed by Sasuke Uchiha. Who did they execute? Tsunade asked, though she had a feeling she knew. She really hoped she was wrong though. Why did Sasuke do it? How did he do it, as I remember that he ran away from the village? Does that mean he was brought back? Sasuke was defeated in battle by Naruto Uzumaki, who then brought him back to the village, Naruto said, and Tsunade smiled slightly. She was glad that Naruto was able to defeat Sasuke and stop him from running away. But that still didn't help in fixing a bad feeling she had about Naruto being the one who was executed. It only increased the feeling. The person who was executed was considered to be Sasuke's best friend. As such, Sasuke was allowed to kill him because everyone knew that an Uchiha needs to kill their best friend in order to awaken Mangekyo Sharingan. The council thought that by giving the Uchiha what he wants, they would stop him from leaving the village. Unfortunately, an innocent person had to pay the price. I'm sure you've already figured out who that person is. Yes. Tsunade did realize who it was. She was right. Naruto was executed and she didn't do anything to stop it. Another important person of hers has died. Another person who she saw as her own son, and another person who wanted to be a Hokage like several other important people in her life. They are all dead, and not even once was she able to prevent any of them from dying. Tsunade started crying, as she couldn't stop herself any longer. Naruto stood to the side, and watched as Tsunade cried over his own apparent death. He was happy that she cared about him so much. Yes, he already figured out that she did, but he wasn't expecting her to cry. That was a surprise. You can stop crying now, Naruto said with no emotions in his voice, making him sound like he didn't care about Naruto's death and Tsunade's pain. Tsunade looked up at him, and glared with anger in her eyes. And why should I? She asked back. I cared for Naruto as if he was my own son, and I failed him. I allowed myself to be screwed over and he paid that with his life. If I never let myself fall under that genjutsu, he wouldn't have died. Maybe, Naruto said. Maybe not. I have a feeling that even if you weren't caught under the genjutsu, Naruto would have been killed. There were far too many people in Konoha who hated him, and wanted him gone. On top of that, the Fire Daimyo himself agreed with the execution, so even if you weren't under a genjutsu, you wouldn't have been able to save him if Daimyo ordered the execution. Why would the Daimyo agree with Naruto's death? Tsunade asked, while wiping some tears, though they were continuously flowing down her cheeks. He didn't even know Naruto. No, he didn't, Naruto said. But he is a moron, and is gullible, so he is an easy target for the Konoha Council who convinced him that it is for the best for Naruto to die, as he is a threat and too many people hate him. On top of that, he was also hoping that he would be able to get his hands on the land of Whirlpools, which was technically still an Uzumaki land, and as long as there were Uzumaki around, he wouldn't be able to annex it to the land of fire. I was able to find some information that the Konoha elders, the council and the Daimyo himself planned to use the current war to exterminate every last Uzumaki out there. If they succeed, then there would be no one to oppose the annexing of the land of Whirlpools by the Fire Country. I see, Tsunade growled. So he is just a greedy pig, who doesn't care about killing innocent in order to increase his country's land and get more money. Pretty much, Naruto confirmed. So, as I was saying, there is no reason to blame yourself for Naruto's death. It was not your fault. Besides, Naruto stopped speaking and looked at Tsunade with a smile on her face. She looked at him with raised eyebrows. You knew Naruto. You knew how he was. He was a loudmouth, but he never backed from his promises. Do you know what he said on his execution day? Tsunade shook her head. He said that even if they kill him, he will come back one way or another. Who would have thought that day, that he was telling the truth? Tsunade's eyes widened to epic proportions once she heard what Naruto said. Why, you can't be serious, Tsunade said. There is no way he is alive if he was executed in front of the entire village. You should know better than that, Granny Tsunade, Naruto said with a sly smirk on his face, making Tsunade's eyes bulge out of their sockets in shock. Only one person has ever called her like that, and now, there is this guy, who is telling her that Naruto is alive, and then calls her the same way Naruto did ever since they've met. I was a loudmouth. I was stupid and a fool, but I never backed away from my word, and I never failed to do what I wanted done. Not even once. Tsunade was shaking her head in disbelief. She just can't believe that this guy in front of her is Naruto. It just doesn't make sense. Naruto was a 12-year-old kid the last time she saw him, and that was 3 years ago according to what this guy said, so it stands to reason that Naruto, if he was alive, should be 15. This guy in front of her looks like he is in his mid-20s, and looks to be far more mature than Naruto should ever be. On top of that, this guy is hot. Tsunade saw Naruto as her own son. She would have never thought of him as hot, not matter how he turned out to be when he grows older. But here she is, feeling attracted to the tall hot guy in front of her, who says he is Naruto. It just isn't right, and shouldn't be possible. You are lying, she said. If Naruto was executed, then there should be no way for him to bring back unless Edo Tensei was used on him, and you look completely normal, and not like someone revived by Edo Tensei. Edo Tensei is an abomination created by your granduncle, Naruto said with narrowed eyes. It is something which should have never been made, but it was. Now, while Edo Tensei can revive people, they are just puppets under the whim of the summoner. The way I was brought back is completely different and wasn't done by any mortal means. Naruto then went and explained everything that happened to him ever since the time she sent him on the mission to retrieve Sasuke, all the way until the day he was revived and sent back to this world. He decided to leave what he was doing in the last 3 years for later. Once he was finished, Naruto just stood there in front of Tsunade, waiting to hear what she will say and see what she will do. For a few minutes, Tsunade was completely quiet, trying to process everything she has just learned. Once she managed to comprehend everything, Tsunade stood up from the bed, and stood right in front of Naruto, looking up so that she can see his eyes. For a few seconds, none said anything, and just looked at each other, before Tsunade did something which shocked Naruto to his core. She grabbed Naruto by the back of his head, pulled it down toward her, and then kissed him right on the lips. Naruto was stunned. He has never imagined that Tsunade of all women would kiss him like this, especially since he always looked at her as his granny, and she saw him as her son. Of course, that was a long time ago, and he is no longer the way he was back then, and Tsunade is no longer an old woman masquerading as a young gal. Right now, Naruto is an entity of over 1,000 years of life, who looks like he is in his mid-20s, while Tsunade is a 50-something-year-old woman, whose age was reverted to around 20 years of age. As such, the two of them shouldn't feel any restriction about doing something like this, not that it makes it any less weird. As Tsunade was kissing him, Naruto found himself returning the kiss, and was suddenly glad that he has gotten the memories of all of his blood clones who have had the experience with women, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be able to live down the shame he would feel from not knowing how to kiss a girl, as unfortunately for him, that was not one of the skills he has learned in his 1,000 years of living in Huko Mundo. The kiss went for over a minute, before Tsunade pulled away, and started breathing hard. She seemed to have lost her breath from the kiss, and her eyes seemed glazed over. Naruto was fine, but he was just standing there, looking at Tsunade. He was debating with himself on what to do, and if he should say or do something. Seeing that Tsunade won't say anything, Naruto decided to just go with it, and do something himself. He has decided that it was time for him to experience what his blood clones have already experienced. Naruto grabbed Tsunade, and lifted her in the air, making her yelp in the process. He spread her legs, and held her by her ass cheeks, while her legs got wrapped around his waist. He pushed Tsunade to the wall, pressing her back to the wall, while his chest pressed on her chest, and then without saying anything, he kissed her again. XXX. The group of Leaf Ninja led by Kakashi were able to locate Hidden and Kakazu, and are now waiting for them in ambush. So, how are we going to do this? Ino asked. She was not exactly happy to be here with Kakashi and Sasuke, but she has to do her mission, and wants to have revenge against people who killed Asuma. As such, she will put up with the two Leaf Ninja for as long as needed. Both of those Akatsuki members are more powerful than any of us, individually, Shikamaru said, and Sasuke scoffed. Sasuke didn't agree with that, as in his eyes, there isn't anyone more powerful than him. Anyway, he kept quiet for once, and listened to what Shikamaru has to say. That being said, Shikamaru spoke again. The guy who killed Asuma, the loudmouthed one, seems to be weaker of the two, so I think that we should capture him first, with few of us taking on him, while all the others take on the other Akatsuki. We must be very careful with that other Akatsuki, because on top of us not knowing much about him, he would be able to stitch that other guy back up if we cut off his head or any other body part. So, I want to see if we can catch them both with my shadow possession jutsu, and then cut off Hidden's head, before we stuff him in a prisoner scroll. After that, all of us would be able to take on the other Akatsuki, and not worry about Hidden. All of us together should be able to take on one Akatsuki member, regardless if he is more powerful than any of us individually. It's a sound plan, Kakashi said. Let's try it out. HMPH, Sasuke huffed. You should let me take on him by myself, he said. With my Mangekyo Sharingan, I would be able to take him out. Maybe you would, Kakashi said. But remember Sasuke, you are still new with the Mangekyo, and you don't have full control over its powers. On top of that, remember that I told you that you will lose your eyesight if you overuse the eyes. Sasuke huffed again. Itachi has had Mangekyo for years, and he still hasn't lost his eyesight. Probably because he didn't overuse it, Kakashi said. He knows the consequences of the overuse of the Mangekyo, so he would not overuse it unless necessary. Even then, Itachi has had Mangekyo for years, so by now, his eyesight should be very bad, even with being careful. You on the other hand, don't have the same restraints as Itachi. We all know that, and you can deny it all you want, but you know that it's the truth. Sasuke got angry at that, but didn't say anything. If you start to use Mangekyo in every battle you go in, you will lose your eyesight in just a few months, maybe even less. Sasuke said nothing, though he was angry. Yes, he knew that Kakashi is right, not that he would ever say that out loud, but still, he now has the power to do whatever he wants, and not using it is a crime in Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke also knows that there is a way to make sure that he never loses his eyesight no matter how much he uses his eyes. That way, is to transplant Itachi's eyes into himself. That way, he would awaken eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and then he would be able to use it as much as he wants. Of course, he first has to find Itachi, and kill him. Only then, would he have a chance to transplant his eyes, and get himself M's. He decided that once these two Akatsuki are captured they would be interrogated about Itachi's location. Once he has that location, he will go after Itachi, and take him out once and for all. Sasuke Uchiha will finally have his revenge. A garganta opened up in front of an entrance to the underground offices of the land of Whirlpool. Sako walked out from it, followed by Yugito, who, once she walked out and the garganta closed, she looked around to see where she is. Yugito was very surprised to see that she was apparently on an island, or at least near the shore of some land, because she could see the sea in the distance. She could also see what looks to be a town under the construction, but she doesn't know which town it is, as this place looks completely unknown to her. Where are we? Yugito asked. We are in the land of whirlpools, Sako said. This is where Alessandro lives, and where I used to live before I joined the Akatsuki. Land of whirlpools, Yugito said out loud, gaining a thoughtful look on her face. Why does that sound familiar? This is an island where the Uzumaki clan used to live, Sako responded, and Yugito's eyes widened. She knew of the Uzumaki clan and how powerful they were. She also knew of how their end came to happen and has heard of the land they used to live on, but has forgotten about it, as it wasn't mentioned by anyone for a long time. The last time she heard of the Uzumaki clan member was 3 years ago, when she heard that Kyuubi Jinchuriki was executed by Konoha. She heard that his name was Naruto Uzumaki, and that he was apparently the son of Konoha's Yellow Flash, and the Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki, the previous Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. Yugito is now wondering why she was there, and what kind of connection Alessandro Stark has with the land of Whirlpools and the Uzumaki clan. She is also wondering if Naruto Uzumaki might have been the one Sako mentioned that Alessandro had a connection with. If it was, then she wondered how the two are connected. Is Alessandro here right now? Yugito asked. I don't know, Sako said, before she stopped looking at the town down below, turned around and walked toward the entrance to the underground offices. We are about to see. XXX. Sako and Yugito walked into the office where they found Cielaporo, along with Tayuya, Taya, Fu, and Sasam. What are you doing here? Cielaporo asked. Shouldn't you be spying on the Akatsuki? I am, Sako said. But I had to come to bring someone here. Everyone looked at Yugito, and noticed that she was wearing the Akatsuki cloak, while Sako didn't. It was strange to them, and brought out questions. Who is she? Tayuya asked. This is Yugito Ni of the Hidden Cloud Village, Sako said, getting raised eyebrows from everyone in the room. She is also the former Jinchuriki of the two-tailed beast. Now everyone understood what happened, as they all knew of the seal Naruto made for the Jinchuriki, and the plan he made with Sako. So, the Akatsuki got their hands on the two tails, Taya spoke, and Sako nodded. How many other did they have so far? They've got 5 so far, Sako said. The ones left are 3, 6, 8 and 9 tails. 2 of them have not shown up yet after the previous Jinchuriki died. 6 tails is unaccounted for, and not even the Akatsuki know where it is, while the 8 tails is in Kumo. Okay, Cielaporo said. Tell us how the things went with Yugito here. Since she is here, I'm assuming the seal worked. Sako nodded, and then explained how she was sent after Yugito as an initiation into the Akatsuki. She explained how Yugito was betrayed by her village, the agreement between Kumo and the Akatsuki, and everything that happened since the two tails was extracted. 2 of the Akatsuki are currently going after Alessandro, Sako said. Apparently, he attacked them and saved some leaf ninja, which I find strange, as I know he doesn't like that village, and the people from there. It's a long story, Tayuya sighed. Also, I doubt that they will find him, since he is here. He suddenly came back yesterday, paid a visit to Gurren to see how she is, and what she has decided, and then went to see Tsunade. We didn't see him since, so we are assuming he is still down there. Though, I have no idea what he is doing this long. Sako shrugged before she smirked. Maybe he decided to have some fun with her if he was able to get her back on her feet. Everyone looked at Sako as if she was insane. This is Alessandro we are talking about, Taya commented. He has never shown any interest in any of us. What would make you think that he would be interested in Tsunade? Sako shrugged. Just a hunch, she said with a smirk. He might have not shown any interest in females, but he is still a guy, and we all know that he likes women. It's only a matter of time before he cracks. Yugito watched and listened the strange conversation, and was surprised, as she wasn't expecting a talk like this. Very soon, they moved away from the talk about Naruto and the woman, and went back to talk about Yugito. So, are you going to stay here? Cielaporo asked. I doubt you were going back to Kumo after they betrayed you, so unless you have somewhere else to go, I'm assuming you will stay here. I want to talk with Alessandro before I decide anything, Yugito said. I'm sure you can understand that, I need to meet the guy first, if I'm going to work with him. Cielaporo nodded. I can understand that, he said. But since he appears to be busy at the moment, maybe you can talk with me. Why would I talk with you, if Alessandro is the leader of this village? Yugito asked with raised eyebrows. Do you know what a blood clone is? Cielaporo asked. Yugito shook her head. She has never heard of blood clones before. It's a very special type of clone jutsu created by the Uzumaki clan. Alessandro knows it, and he has used it and created several of them. I'm one of those clones. What? Yugito was wide-eyed. But you don't look anything like he does in the picture in the bingo book. Not even close. And your name is different. Yeah, I'm under the transformation jutsu, Cielaporo said. The reason for that is long to explain, so we will leave that for later. Now though, we can talk if you want. But if you really want to talk with the original, then I guess you can wait for him. Yugito thought for a minute, before she said. I think I'll wait for the original Alessandro. Suit yourself, Cielaporo said. But can you tell me why are you wearing the Akatsuki's cloak? I gave it to her, Sako spoke. Her clothing burned away during the revival, so she had nothing else to wear. I see, Cielaporo said, and then looked at Sasam. Sasam, can you please go and bring Yugito some clothing? Sako is going to need that cloak in order to return to the Akatsuki. Of course, Sasam said, and walked outside of the office, leaving everyone else behind. Now, Cielaporo spoke as he looked at Sako. What can you tell us about the Akatsuki? Not much, Sako said. I know of their members, but I still don't know their full capabilities, nor have I found out what the goal is, or the reason for wanting all the biju. Okay, Cielaporo. Then tell us what you know. Don't you want to wait for Alessandro? Sako asked. You will have to explain to him everything later, if I was to tell you everything right now. It's fine, Cielaporo said. Who knows what's keeping him so long, and I don't want to risk the Akatsuki finding out that there is something off with you. We want them to believe that you are faithful to the goals, and we don't want them to have any suspicions of you. Yeah, well, I think it's a bit too late for that, Sako spoke, and everyone in the room narrowed their eyes. Why do you say that? Fu asked, speaking for the first time since Sako and Yugito arrived. I was first approached by Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki. Sako then went and explained about Pain, about their battle and everything she has learned of him, as well as his battle style. She said that she is sure that there is a person, who is controlling the Pain bodies from the shadows, as all the Pains felt dead to her. She also mentioned that Pain has the Rinnegan, and explained what the Rinnegan is, as Cielaporo didn't know. All in all, she said that Pain is quite powerful, around the high cage level, and that no regular person would be able to defeat him. The fact that she came so close, is the reason she thinks that Pain has some suspicions of her, especially since she has mentioned that Alessandro is much stronger than her. I think that Pain is weary of me, Sako said. As such, I'm sure that he will keep an eye on me. So you will probably not be able to come here that often, Tayuya guessed. Well, with Garganta I can go anywhere, and no one can follow me, Sako said. I don't think that there would be any problems because of that. Cielaporo nodded. Okay, he said. You are free to go, but as soon as you find some serious information, then come and inform us. I think that you should know that Pain has sent 2 members of the Akatsuki after the Three Tails, which is supposed to emerge in some lake very soon. Sako spoke. Should we send someone to prevent them? Fu asked. No, came the voice from the door, making Yugito jump in fright from an unknown voice, while the others looked at who it was. It was Naruto, standing in all his glory and seemingly radiating for some reason. Everyone but Yugito looked at him with narrowed eyes, as they were unused to this look on his face, and the positive energy Naruto seems to be releasing off of himself. Yugito, though, took one look at him, and blushed from the top of her head to her toes. She has never seen a more perfect guy in her life, and felt like she has instantly fallen for him. Where have you been? Tayuya asked, with an annoyed-sounding voice. She was unsure, but she believed that she knows the reason for the way Naruto looks and acts, and isn't happy about it. And what do you mean, no? It took a while to get Tsunade back to her feet, so to say, Naruto said as he entered the room, and closed the door behind himself. After that, I had to explain a lot, and that took even longer. Everyone in the room will agree that Naruto was very good at telling half-truths. They knew that that is not all that happened between Naruto and Tsunade. As for no, Naruto continued to speak. If we want to find out what the Akatsuki's goal is, then we need to let them get their hands on all biju, but prevent the deaths of the Jinchuriki if possible. Those are the reasons I sent you to spy on them. Naruto said to Sako. If I send someone to stop them, then the Akatsuki will fail. You all know that perfectly well. Everyone except Yugito nodded. Yugito, on the other hand, looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes, though she still had a blush on her face. So you let the Akatsuki catch all the Jinchuriki and extract the biju from them, even though you have the capabilities to stop them. She was pretty much accusing Naruto and the others. Naruto looked at Yugito, and noticed that she was both angry, but also blushing as she was glaring at him. I guess you could say that, Naruto said. I debated for a while on what to do. Should I save the Jinchuriki and by doing that, leave them to their suffering in their villages, or, should I just let the Akatsuki capture them, and get their hands on the biju? The Jinchuriki would die, but that would mean that they wouldn't suffer anymore. Sometimes, it's better to die than to suffer, but not many people understand that. Eventually, I decided to let the Akatsuki get their hands on the biju, but I will try to do something to save the Jinchuriki. Thus, I created a seal which would save them after their biju were extracted. This way, the Jinchuriki would live, and I would give them a new chance in life. The Akatsuki would get their hands on the biju to further their plans, and it gives me a chance to find out what is it that they want with all the biju. Do you understand that, Yugito ni, formerly of the Hidden Cloud Village? Yes, I understand, Yugito said after few moments of silence. But I still don't like it. There were other Jinchuriki before me who were captured, and they are dead now. Some of them are, Naruto said. The Ichibi Jinchuriki was saved, though he had his biju taken. Then there is you, who were also saved. The former Jinchuriki of the Three-Tail was the Mizukage, he died in that war against the rebels in his country before I even started on my quest, so I couldn't do anything there. The 4 and 5 tails were from Awagakur, and they are dead. Unfortunately, they were captured while I was debating with myself, so they were the casualties. 6 tails still wasn't captured and is missing. Sako will save the man if she is capable of getting to him before the others. 7-tailed Jinchuriki was saved by me personally, Yugito raised her eyebrows. She was captured and had her biju extracted, before her corpse was tossed in the forests, where I found her and brought her back to life. Yugito's jaw dropped on the floor, while her eyes bugged out of her head. How? Yugito managed to ask. That's a long story and we'll explain it later, Naruto said. The last 2 Jinchuriki are Killer Bee from your own village, and he still isn't captured. The Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi has died 3 years ago, and Kyuubi is supposed to come back in a few years. So, as you see, the only 2 Jinchuriki who died because of my actions or inactions were the 4 and 5 tails Jinchuriki. The others were either saved in one way or another, or they have died a long time ago before I could do anything. What is it that you actually want? Yugito suddenly asked, getting raised eyebrows from everyone in the room. Why is it important to you to find out what the Akatsuki want? And how are you planning to stop them once they get their hands on all 9 biju? They would be invincible once they have all that fire power. No, they won't be invincible, Naruto said with a smirk. They would be easily taken care of. Trust me on that. As for the reason, I actually don't have one. I'm just curious to see what they will try to pull. That's it, Yugito question. You are just interested in their plans and noting more. You are willing to risk lives just to satisfy your curiosity. Naruto smirked. I never said that I'm a nice guy, Naruto said. My original plan for the end was to simply kill everyone and destroy everything, and trust me, I'm more than capable of doing that. Over time, I mellowed down a little bit, so I decided not to do that, but to do something else. And what would that be? Yugito asked curiously, though she was very unnerved by how easily Naruto spoke of the decimation of the En. It's simply, Naruto said. I want to destroy the current system and turn the entire En into one empire. There would be no different countries, different villages, or different rulers. It would be one empire, with one leader, where everyone will be able to live in peace and not constantly fight with each other in order to get more territory and power. Why you cannot possibly do that, Yugito stammered, wide-eyed. That would mean going against the En, and everyone in it. Now normally, that would be the truth, Naruto said. But, the En are currently in war with each other. Everyone is taking sides, and there are skirmishes here and there. People are dying left and right, and by them doing that, they are making my job easier. They are basically going to nearly exterminate each other, and then when the time is right, we will show ourselves and take over what's left. Once we do, the new era will begin. Yugito was in disbelief. She couldn't believe what Naruto was trying to do. She thinks that it's insanity, and that, even though his plan sounds good, it is doomed to fail, as there is no way one village, even with people as powerful as Sako and Naruto, would be able to take on the entire En, even in their weakened state. And even if they are somehow to win, and take over, what's to stop people from many former countries to rebel eventually, and start another war with each other? Naruto's plan is doomed to fail, and Yugito knows that. I think that your plan is doomed to fail, Yugito said. But there is nothing I can do to stop you, is there? Naruto shook his head, and smiled. What is it that you want with me? Why am I here? It's simple, Naruto said. I want you to join me. Why? Yugito asked. You've got nowhere to go, Naruto said. I heard that you were betrayed by your village, so you can't go there. And you can't go on your own, as I doubt you would last long by yourself. The only thing remaining is to join me on my quest for the better world. I'm surprised you didn't say you want peace, Yugito said. Naruto shrugged. There is no such thing as true peace, he said. Even if my plan works, and I build an empire, it will only make things better, but not perfect. This world is never meant to be perfect, as there will always be those who are unsatisfied with something. There will always be those who will want something they can't have and will start wars to get it. My plan will not make the end perfect, but it will make it much better and more peaceful than it currently is. That way of thinking is so sad, Yugito commented once she heard Naruto's views of peace. It might be sad, but it's the truth, Naruto said. As long as there is humanity, there will always be conflict. All we can do is to prevent the conflicts from escalating too much. Do you understand that, Yugito? Yes, Yugito said. I understand. Sasam returned at that moment with some clothing for Yugito, who took them and then under Sasam's escort went to another room to change, while the other stayed behind. Do you think she will accept to join us? Sayeloporo asked. It's up to her, Naruto shrugged. I won't press her to join if she doesn't want to, but if she refuses, she will have to memories rewritten. She will be in danger if she doesn't stay. Fu said. She wanted Yugito to stay because they are both former Jinchuriki and as such, might become good friends. Fu already has some friends in the Whirlpool, but except Naruto and Sayeloporo, none of them understand her that well, as they were not Jinchuriki. With Yugito, she might get the connection and a friend she was searching for. She knows that, Naruto said. But, as I said, it is her decision. Then again, if you really want her to stay, I guess you can try to convince her. I guess I will, Fu said. If she refuses at first, of course. Few minutes later, Yugito walked back into the room. She was dressed in a black shinobi pants, and black t-shirt. Lastly she has black boots. All in all, her clothing were pretty simply, and she will have to find herself a new one she prefers at the later time. Right now, these will suit her fine. Sasam walked after Yugito, carrying the Akatsuki cloak which Sako has borrowed to Yugito, and handed it over to Sako. So, what have you decided? Naruto asked while looking at Yugito. Yugito sighed. You were right when you said that I've got nowhere to go, she said. I can't go back to Kumo, and it's risky to go to any other village. As such, I have decided to accept your offer, and join this village. Naruto smiled, along with Fu. They were happy that Yugito joined. As for the others, they were okay with it, but didn't show any emotions on their faces. Good, Naruto said, and then pointed at Fu. That over there, is Fu. She is the former seven-tailed Jinchuriki. Yugito's eyes widened as she looked at the girl whose whole head is covered by a white bone-like mask. She then remembered that Naruto said that Fu has died after the extraction and that he has revived her, but didn't say how. Yugito wanted to ask, but decided to wait for a little while, so that she can get to know everyone better, and not start asking questions which they might not like answering. The two of you have the closest connection than anyone else here as you were both the former Jinchuriki, Naruto spoke. As such, she is the best option to show you around, and I hope that you can become good friends. Yugito nodded. I'm sure we will, she said, and Fu agreed. Now, why don't the two of you go to check out the village, so that Yugito can learn where everything is, Naruto suggested. Fu and Yugito agreed, and both walked out of the office, leaving the others behind. She accepted way too easily, Tayuya said. She didn't have other choice, and she knew that, Naruto said. But just to make sure she won't try something. I want you, Sasam, to keep an eye on her. Is that okay with you? Of course, Naruto, Sasam said. It shall be done. Good, Naruto said. Now, what's next on the agenda? Are there any news from around the N? Actually, Tayuya spoke. Gurren mentioned that Orochimaru is planning to send a team after the three-tail. She said that he already got his hands on the three-headed beast, and sealed it into a woman from the Uzumaki clan, but he also plans to get his hands on one of the Biju, so that he can increase his military power. Is that so? Naruto wondered. Well then, I guess it was a good choice not to send anyone after the three tails. With some luck, the Akatsuki and Orochimaru's man might take each other out. Though I would prefer if the Akatsuki were able to get their hands on the three tails. Anything else? Naruto asked again. Well, I did say that there are two members of the Akatsuki going after you because you attacked them, Sako spoke, causing Naruto to smirk. Why did you do it anyway? Why save those leaf ninja? The man I saved is Asuma Sarutobi, Naruto said. He is one of the people who were on my side during and after the execution. His genin team went to the academy with me, and they were also on my side. I guess I felt I should do something to save them, since they are friends, and potential allies. So what happened to the Leaf Ninja? Sako asked. Well, Asuma was badly hurt and I had to turn him into a hybrid, Naruto said, and Sako rose her eyebrows in surprise. Up until now, all the people Naruto turned were female, and now, he turned a man. She never actually expected that. Then I had Tayuya rewrite the memories of the others who were there and saw what happened, as I couldn't let them go back to the Leaf with the knowledge they learned. You took a big risk saving those Leaf Ninja, and drawing the ire of Hiden and Kakazu, Sako said. They are not among the strongest of the Akatsuki, but they are hard to deal with, at least that's what I learned about them. Bah! Naruto shrugged of Sako's words. I'm not worried about them, and you shouldn't either. You are powerful enough to deal with the entire Akatsuki by yourself, and when the time comes, I might let you take him out. Okay, Sako said. She was happy that Naruto acknowledges her skills, and has such faith in her. But what about Hiden and Kakazu? Just let them be for now, Naruto said. I don't feel like dealing with them, and since I plan to stay here for a while, I won't have to. Besides, I think that Leaf might send someone after them once they learn about what happened to Asuma. Remember that right now, the Leaf thinks that Asuma has died in the battle against those two, and will most likely want some revenge. In the end, everyone agreed with Naruto's decision, and after that, Sako left to go back to the Akatsuki, in case they need her for something, and to be close to the watchful eyes which she is sure pain has set on her. As for the others, most went their own way, except Tayuya and Taya, who followed after Naruto as soon as he left the office, leaving Sayelaporo alone. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.